Neerja studied Ayurveda with Dr. Rajan and started the first Ayurveda registered training organisation in 2001 in Australia, offering qualifications up to the advanced diploma. She is the principal consultant at Ayurveda Awareness Centre and has regularly led educational seminars, workshops and weekend residential retreats. She has published a variety of articles in national health professional journals. Neerja consults clients for diet, lifestyle, routines for physical, mental and emotional hygiene, and she offers a variety of Ayurvedic detoxification and de-stressing treatments, which I have personally experienced and can highly recommend. And as a course facilitator for nationally recognised courses, seminars, workshops, retreats and consultations for over thousands of clients, she's acquired a deep understanding of human psychology and how emotional and mental hygiene helps to reverse the disease process and improve our quality of life. So, without further ado, I'll introduce Neerja.
So I'm talking about wellness and diet. I'm just touching on a small aspect of what Dr. Kupan has been speaking about, that how diet is important in creating wellness, and we can use that as a strategy. And there are few things that when we look at the diet, we as Ayurveda practitioners consider. So one is the food and biological individuality, and that food affects the mind and emotions, and foods that balance and unbalance your metabolism, and impact of food processing, food preserving, GMOs on wellness and health, and correcting the mistake of the intellect, and teaching the patients what to do about the food that we will take. And health is subjective. We all know that, right? And food that works for one person does not necessarily work for somebody. Same food that two people are taking, it may have different effect. It's like, and we all need food for what would work for me, understand what food is required by me. It's like different cars need different kind of fuel. So our bodies need different kind of fuel, and that is determined by what we call as body types as well. And certain foods taken by certain people can bring either, for example, they can bring inflammatory issues or mucogenic issues or things like bloating. So again, same food. It's like understanding what will this particular food do to that person. So it could be typically one of those things. When people come to us, they will say, I've got digestive issues, and then we have to explore. Either it is they feel bloated, or they feel wind, or they feel acidity, or they can say, well, I feel very heavy after eating a meal. These are very typical, simple things that people, when they have digestive issues, they could be talking about, but they would be having these kind of issues. It is also dependent on what is their individuality, what is their individual, what we call as body type. And foods can bring different quality of mind as well. So there are foods that will be bringing agitation to the mind. In fact, that is the way we look at the foods. We will not only look at the proteins, vitamins, minerals, etc., but we also look at what does this particular food do to mind. So there are foods that will bring inflammation or irritation and agitation to the mind. And good examples are hot and spicy foods and caffeine. And then there are foods that will bring lethargy and tiredness in the body and in the mind as well. There is a dullness and inertia that will set in. And some examples can be the refined and processed foods that will do that as well. And then there is a different kind of foods that will bring peace and equanimity in the mind. And so typically fresh seasonal foods, organic foods will be some good examples of that will be considered in that. And there are food lists that we work with, and we can say, okay, and get to know what people are eating and immediately know what kind of effect it is going to bring to the body and mind. Then foods that balance an unbalanced metabolism. It can often come with a feeling of lethargy or heaviness or dullness or acidity, those kind of things that will be happening. And exercise, eating spicy foods can help, or when there is inertia or dullness that is there. So we will use diet, and some good examples are ginger and black pepper. They can be used, and that ginger will bring a bit of heat, and that will help remove the dullness or inertia or tiredness that is there. In fact, the whole books have been written about ginger and the benefits that it can bring to digestion, and can be very successfully used for preventative aspect, what Dr. Kupan was talking about, the initial first 4 stage, where things can be reversed quite quickly if we know what we are doing. And so having things like ginger and black pepper can help, and avoiding very oily and sweet foods, which will help to enhance the metabolism, can be taken care of. What kind of foods we are eating, that will be something to be considered. Then processed foods, they influence health in a way that we are not yet clearly talking about probably in the illness model. I work more with the wellness model, so patients come and talk to me about that, and they know it already from their experience, and that what is happening, but we are not clearly talking in the medical practice probably as well. And here we want to talk about, for example, the leftover foods versus the fresh foods. Of course, it is convenient for us and the way we are living in the busyness of life, we do use leftovers, and we use processed and packaged foods because that's the way life is becoming. But I want you to think about, for example, a celery stick that is growing in your garden and the same celery stick that is left on the kitchen table for 2 weeks. Can you see that can you imagine that there would be a difference? So we're not talking about proteins and vitamins, etc. We're talking about the life force that has shifted, that has changed. So we talk about that there is a difference when we are taking those kind of foods. Similarly, frozen foods, lots of times by the time we are getting frozen, cooked or tinned foods, they are leftovers. They have been manufactured or processed a long time ago, and that will impact our digestion, and that is going to impact those initial stages that Dr. Kupan was talking about. That will be impacting. And fast foods, carbonated drinks, and then chemicals and pesticides and fertilizers used in the foods are also impacting us and how the food is being digested. And so first is what kind of food, and then how it is being metabolized in the body. So that will affect how much toxins that will get created, and if we don't have clear strategies for removing that from body in the initial stages, we are slowly but surely moving towards stage 5 and 6 with taking these kind of foods. And choosing foods for wellness can be actually quite intuitive and simple. If we start listening to our body more, we know many times that this food is not right for me. Have you ever experienced at least once or twice or more than that? You experience that? So we know intuitively this is not right for me. but I do keep on taking because it is convenient, it's easy, it is available. There's so many other reasons why we are taking food, not really looking at what is its value for health and well-being. There's so many other reasons we choose the foods. So actually it is simple, it is light, it is made of typically fresh food ingredients, and definitely in today's words we also have to add on organic as much as possible. And it helps to maintain the body's health, increases strength, vigor, and vitality. So if you are not a doctor, how do you know a person is sick or well? You look at the skin color, you look at the glow on their face. There are plenty of things that will tell us this person is sick or not, right? That's how we as general public, not medical doctors, but general public will look at a person. So that is what, if after eating the food, those are the kind of experiences, typically we can see that this food is going to work some good things in the body. And it improves mental function and consists of moderate portions of food. Overeating by itself typically can bring inertia. Have you had ever that experience that you have eaten too much and then you think, oh, I can't move from the table? Yes? So overeating itself can bring that lethargy we were talking about. The qualities of mind will start changing. And meals are to be taken at regular intervals. That is another good thing about not just what we are eating, but how we are eating. That is also important. And these kind of foods typically will be more alkaline foods, and they are foods free of chemicals and stimulants, fresh foods already, and seasonal foods, right? In today's world, again, younger people are sometimes even forgetting what is the season for a particular food, and a lot of times we don't know either. Only thing I know it might be in season is because of probably slight fluctuation in the rates that we are paying for those foods, because foods can be imported from anywhere in the world and they are available anytime in the in the supermarkets. But when they are seasonal, body and nature knows what is required at this time of the year, and nature has already taken care, and that food is being grown or is available in that particular place at that time. It is typically required and is quite useful for us, for that body. And some nuts and seeds will be okay, but not too many as well. So these will be the typical simple foods that without taking care, looking at in details of how much protein, how many minerals. I'm sure even if there are dietitians there, if they look at the plate, they cannot tell me exactly how many calories, exactly how many proteins, exactly how many vitamins. But we can all have, because we all have the bodies that can tell us from the symptoms or from the experiences, experientially we'll know this food was good food for me, or health-wise, not just taste-wise, but or this one wasn't. Yes? Okay. And here just I want to finish with some statistics and trends that people are leading in many ways, at least the people I get to see, those who end up coming to me, that whatever or wherever medical system is at the moment, but they know what works, and they are leading those trends. There is a lot more vegan and vegetarian food available in the markets. There are a lot more restaurants who are making those kind of foods available. Even fast food restaurants, I've seen even in McDonald's kind of places, there are some better choices available nowadays as well. And so they are taking the lead, because subjectively we know what is happening in our body. And we know where a lot of people, at least whom I get to see in my practice, they want to take charge, and they don't just want to depend and go to that fifth stage, not necessarily knowing what we are talking about, the fifth stage. They don't want to go there. They want to work on prevention, and we typically work on stage 1 to 4 more independently, and a lot of times there it is what is required is the disciplining. What is required is we are working in that quadrant where things are important but not urgent. And so we have to work with them, get them ready to discipline themselves, to do things that will work on the prevention and not hopefully let them go to stage 5 and 6. Well, here it is. The organic market is currently worth 2.4 billion and the retail market is estimated at 1.6. So obviously people are moving towards what they are sensing is right for them. And one research conducted by Mobium Group suggests that more than 6 in 10 Australian households buy organic products in any given year. How many of you have ever bought or never bought organic food? So somewhere intuitively we all know what works, and not necessarily waiting for that evidence to come from any specific research, but just doing what feels right. There was a photo, actually, there was a National Geographic that you were mentioning. I saw that as well, that medical profession, we are starting to talk about what foods work, what not work. So there was in National Geographic, that means again it is people's movement. It is reaching that place where it is gathering momentum that food can be used as medicine as well. So thank you very much.